Hello YouTube, my name is Paul, hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to another pickup video. So what I thought I'd do is try and crack out a few of these pickup videos over the next few weeks and try and get myself into a place where I'm actually up to date, because every time I say that I'm not going to buy much, I buy bloody loads. It's beginning to actually get on my tits, to be honest. I've been buying lots of games that are on my list. I'm still sort of cracking on with that really. I'm picking up bargains. There's been quite a few Amiga bargains recently. Nice Spectrum bargain. And a couple of titles I've been after for a long time. So what I thought I'd do is I'll crack on with the pickup videos. Do the Atari 2600 first. So I've got about a dozen games for that to show you. I've got a similar amount of Amstrad disc games. I know they're all Ocean or Imagine, but there's a couple of games in there that are quite difficult to source. Loads of Spectrum, that's per usual, including a real bargain that I picked up. So I'm really chuffed to pick up actually. Well, chuffed to get. Commodore 64 is just a handful of clam shell cases that I'm after for the Ocean software range. It's only about 7 or 8, but there's far more on the Commodore than there is on the ZX Spectrum. Got quite a few ST games, quite a few Amiga titles, and quite a few PlayStation titles as well. So yeah, my list is now diminishing quickly, which is fantastic. There's a couple of games in there which are absolute sods to find, but if they come up I'll go for them. But yeah, I've probably got about 7 or 8 games that I would consider rare. The rest aren't too bad. So there's only a few Atari games that I want, and these games I would have remembered from when I was younger. Not necessarily games I owned, but games I played. Games like Fast Food. Now that is a sod to find in the PAL regions. You can get it in America quite easily. But there's one cartridge available in Germany for about £8, but the game box complete can go for between £40 and £50, which is quite a surprise really. It's not a bad little game. Another game I'm after is quite a common one, it's just finding it in decent condition. That's Kaboom, which I remember quite vividly playing it around a friend's house. Again, I like to get it in decent condition along with Boxing, which is the only other Atari 2600 game on my list of games to get. There are others I want to get, but it's probably influenced by Atari 2600 top 10 lists really. Games like River Raid, I've never played that game. Pitfall, Hero, there's a few that I've never played that I'd like to get in the collection. But like I said, the Atari 2600 itself, the collection, I don't want it to be a vast collection. I'm quite happy for it to get to about 30-40 games and call it a day. I mean, the games do look horrendous, they do sound horrendous. But certain games like Space Invaders and Miss Pac-Man, I absolutely love playing them even today. They're such fantastic pick up and play games. So yeah, so what I'll do is show you through the dozen or so Atari games that I've picked up. I've got the first one I'm going to show you, I've already shown you in the revival video, but if none of you watched the revival video, then you're going to see it in this one. That's a game called Return of the Jedi, or Death Star Battle, which was a gift from Scott, Sega Zombie. Much appreciated. I actually played all these games on my fake PVM, which I'm sure you'll see in a minute, just to see how they play really. And this game was actually not too bad at all. The object of the game is to destroy the Death Star, but at the same time you've been attacked by X-Wing fighters, and X-Wing fighters, they're yours, aren't they? I don't bloody know, TIE fighters, aren't they? X-Wing fighters. Like I said, I'm waiting for the cartridge. The cartridge only cost me a couple of quid if I can find it. The instruction manual. But yeah, it seems like a decent little game. I played it for about 5 or 10 minutes. Finally got to the Death Star and just got flipping shot by the laser beams. But yeah, not a bad game. I think it's probably the second best game out of the 3 Star Wars games that came out. I think the one where you got like Luke Skywalker and this lightsaber attacking that bloody floaty thing, that's quite a difficult game to play. So thank you very much, Scott. Much appreciated, mate. I never would have bought that game. It's actually quite decent fun, to be honest. The second Star Wars game I picked up is a game I played many years ago. I can't remember how I obtained it, but I remember getting hold of a cartridge off a friend, but I can't remember which friend it was. And that game is Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. This was a recent pickup. I think this one cost me about 10 quid. I'm having a bit of a spell at the minute where I offer the sort of seller a bit more than what I end up paying. I don't know what they expect for these games, but Atari games at the moment, unless they're rare or desirable, which is the norm really, they're dirt cheap. I mean, these games probably on average cost me £10 to £15 each. There's nothing dramatic there. And I've been quite choosy in what I've bought, because a lot of the games I see, they look absolutely in terrible condition. But The Empire Strikes Back is a cracking game. And you've got to take down loads of these things. They're called AT-AT walkers, I can't remember what they call it. I'm not a massive Star Wars fan. I do like the original films, but I don't kind of hold on to what these things are called, to be honest. But yeah, there's those little things. So you keep smacking them with a few bullets and they change colour. Then eventually they explode. But yeah, exactly the same thing with your ship though. It does exactly the same thing. It sort of changes colour then explodes. So yeah, you can actually land on the surface and recharge your energy, which I completely forgot about. It's a cracking game. Gets difficult very hard. Very hard. Gets difficult very quickly, which is quite normal for Atari games. But you get the cartridge inside the box and they come with these like funky sort of things, whatever they're supposed to be bloody called. But they usually find they either go missing from the box or they're crushed to hell. An instruction booklet. So pleased to have this one. This is certainly a game I had back in the day. I'm really pleased to have it back in the collection. So yeah, brilliant. I'm not really fussed about getting a third Star Wars game, to be honest. I've got no interest in it whatsoever. It looks crap. Although I have heard people play it and enjoy it. Or heard of people, sorry. Next up is one of my favourite Atari games. I would certainly make one of my top 10 lists anyway. That's Frogger. The game is to play at a neighbour's place quite considerably. It's a cracking little game. Again, it gets difficult bloody quickly. It's funny because I play the games on the very first setting, which is usually the box standard setting. So God knows how hard the later settings are, but yeah, it's a cracking little game. If you've not played Frogger before, give it a go. It's come out on so many bloody machines, it's unbelievable. When I was at Revival, I did play this on an Atari 5200, which made it look a lot, well, not this version looked better, but the 5200 version looked really good. Again, comes in exactly the same format as the others. Cartridge, one of those little card things, and instruction manual. I actually do love this game. I can't get much beyond sort of screen 4, screen 5. So it goes bloody bananas. Again, that only set me back just over 10 quid. Now next up is a game that I never thought I'd buy. I picked it up because it was about 10, 12 quid, but it's quite badly damaged. Had to get the old iron out and flatten it out a little bit. But yeah, I can understand why ET fucked off home and left this game behind, because I tell you what, it's a bit of a bizarre one. Again, it looks in better condition than it was, because some of these games I get posted end up coming in a jiffy bag, flat packed. Which is unbelievable, really. I've seen this game, people want a fortune for this game. Because obviously the history of it being buried in a flipping landfill. But again, I'm not sure you can really see it, but the spines and that on it, I've had to iron and flatten out, and that's why I haven't taken out the plastic protector. I have tried playing it, but it is recommended you play this game after reading the instructions. Got the old Woolies special buy stick on the front there, which is quite a nice touch in itself. Rather retro, but yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing this film years ago. I think it was what? Must have been in school, primary school. Cracking film. I've not seen it since though. But the game, by all accounts, isn't very good. Right. What next? So next up is Donkey Kong on the Atari. I'm not sure if this is sun faded or not. As you can see there where a sticker used to be, it's quite dark. The picture's quite pink. But I've seen other copies of this game look exactly the same, without obviously that blob on it. That sounds horrible. But yeah, again, I remember this game really well. I didn't realise though it was designed originally to go on the, was it the ColecoVision? And was deliberately made poorly on the Atari 2600. So you'd go out and buy one of these ColecoVision consoles. But yeah, I always quite liked it, but it's only got 2 screens in the entire game. And it's very, very repetitive. The difficulty level doesn't even change, it's exactly the same. So, by anybody's standard, it's a bloody crap game. But I'm pleased to have it, because again, I had it years ago. I guess not many Nintendo games made it to the Atari either. So it's nice to have in the collection. Again, it didn't cost me much more than 10 quid. So I'm pleased with that. In decent shape. Again, had to be ironed and flattened out. Seems to be a common thing at the minute with these Atari games. But trying to find Atari games in great condition is, I suppose, you can probably see why Nintendo or Super Nintendo and Nintendo collectors get frustrated when they can't find decent quality games. Because it is bloody hard. Right, next up we got a game that I decided to keep from a bundle. And it's a game that I thought was something else. I've kept it anyway, so it's in nice condition. And that's Slot Racers. Which I got a bit confused with Dodge 'em. Now this game is 2-player only. So very similar to sort of like Combat. In fact, it's like Combat, but you're in a maze that looks a lot like Slot Racers. So you've got to chase after each other. firing a bullet at each other, and that bullet just carries on going around until it hits something. To be honest, the game's quite rubbish. This is from 1978. Man, I'd have been 4. But yeah, it's not a great game, not a valuable game. Like I said, I got it as part of a bundle, so it costs next to nothing. But I thought I'd keep it. The artwork's a bit funky. Very sort of like Westworld styley going on there. A bit futuristic, isn't it? But I do like it. The box art, that is. The game itself is dreadful. Probably the weakest game I got in the collection. I didn't realise as well, a lot of the games that are PAL territory has a little P on the top of it as well, which I didn't know that. But not everyone has the P on it. But next up is probably the first third-person driving game I ever played. That's Pole Position. Now this game's actually very good fun. I quite enjoyed playing this a little while ago. I'm pretty sure that screenshot there is not from this game either, which is a bit naughty really. But it plays really well, again really repetitive. But I like it, it's in nice condition as well. I think you can probably pick this one up for about 2 or 3 quid. But actually condition wise it's really nice. This one set me back about 10 quid, but at least it's not crushed. Which makes a nice change really. And obviously in the new style livery from sort of post sort of 1982. When Atari kind of rebranded itself really, or rebranded the VCS console. And it's these nice silver carriages, which is quite nice. Not sure what you guys had back in the day when you had your old sort of second generation machines. Did you have the Atari or ColecoVision, Intellivision, or what? But yeah, really nice. Really pleased to have this in the collection actually. This is a very good Atari 2600 game. Certainly one I would recommend. Stick it back in its protective case a minute. Right, what have we got next? We've only got 3 left to show you. No, 4 left to show you. The next one is another one which is rather crushed. And the sort of genre of game that, to be honest with you, I can't stand. That's Super Breakout. But again, my neighbour had this game. It's got an awesome sort of space theme going on with the old illustration there. Some old fella in a space helmet. Not sure if he's supposed to be that old, but it looks like he's about 80. But yeah, it's not my cup of tea, I've got to be honest with you. But again, this game came pretty crushed, and that's why I've left it in a protective case. Not sure if you can quite make it out there. But I did another iron job on this one. Iron job don't sound right either, does it? But yeah, there we go, the special P. But yeah, I wouldn't... Well, I personally don't like this game. I didn't like Arkanoid either. But there is a prequel to this, just called Breakout, which I don't think I have. Right, the next one is an arcade game that used to freak me out as a kid. I'm not sure if it was the crazy sounds or the robotic voices. Luckily the robotic voices don't exist on the Atari 2600 version. That game is Berserk. Again, cracking artwork on it. Got those Cylon looking, well, cyborgs are a bit funky, aren't they? Bloody hell. And in the arcade, yeah, the speech is a bit like off-putting. Again, slightly crushed unfortunately. This was about 15 quid. I think the guy had it up for 25 and offered about 15 quid for that. I think offered for a few other games as well, which kind of swayed him to let me have this one really, but it is a bit crushed on the bottom there. But it's a good game, and I like this game more now than I did when I played it back in the early 80s, to be honest. Exactly the same artwork. But you've got to be quite careful with the cartridges as well, because sometimes the cartridges are not the original ones. It looks like they've been rebranded and reissued. But the boxes look the same, so don't quite get what's going on with that. Nice condition manual as well. So yeah, really chuffed to have this one. I do like this game more now than I did. Don't know why. Maybe it just scared the crap out of me. But yeah, that's the cracking Berserk. Quite hard though. I didn't realise you couldn't touch the wall or anything like that. It's not going to fit in here. No, it's not. Yeah, and I probably died more times touching the wall or touching the bloody Cylon things than anything else. But yeah, 2 left to show you. Both Activision games. Both games, again, I played at my friend's house. Both games aren't particularly great. I've got to be honest. They're probably worse than I remember them. The first one is definitely worse than I remember it, and that's Dragster. But yeah, I mean, graphics again on this one are really, really poor. Terrible graphics, to be honest. And you've got to time your gear changes just right in line with the acceleration. It took me a few goes to get used to it, to be honest, to get used to control. And you've got to get from one point to the other as quickly as possible. And it tends to be, well, it's a 2-player game. There you go. Usually these cartridges suffer with the old glue peeling off of them, so this one looks in quite nice condition. Game 1, straight Dragster, 1 or 2 players. Game 2, steering Dragster. I've not played that one. To be honest, I couldn't get to grips with the original. But yeah, pleased to have that in the collection. Again, this one can go for more than sort of 10-15 quid, so I was quite lucky to get that from Sore Thumbs Games whilst it was at Revival, so chuffed to bits to have that. And finally, last but not least, it's probably the first top-down driving game I ever played. And this game is bloody hard. It's harder than I remember it, and that's Grand Prix. No screenshots in these old Activision games. But again, this one, you don't realise how difficult it is. You're kind of cruising along at a decent speed, and all of a sudden you go really fast, and it's beyond controllable. There's about 3 or 4 different games on it, and each of the games has a slightly longer track. So the second track will have a tunnel, the third track will have like multiple tunnels. It's just a longer race really, but it is bloody hard. And the idea with the game really is just to get to the end of the race in the quickest possible time. So you're pretty much just playing against yourself. Kind of a bit of a time trial really. So that's all the Atari games I've picked up. So what I'll do next with the next pickup video, which I'll probably do next week to be honest. I just want to get all these pickups out of the way so I can put them away. So yeah, I'll do the Amstrad games next, the Amstrad Ocean Imagine games, followed by the Sinclair Spectrum, which may be over a couple, 2 or 3 videos. But yeah, I want to get all these sorted out once and for all, put them all away. So I seriously am having to slow down with the purchases at the minute. It does go a bit out of bloody control, doesn't it, to be honest. So there you have it. There we have it. So I'll see you back again next week for some more pickups. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. I'll see you guys again real soon. Take care and bye for now.